Today, we are diving into some of the most unhinged Reddit stories. I'm Marie.
And I'm Mel, and trust me, these stories are wild.
And I'm May, and I can't wait for you to hear what we've got for you today.
Welcome to OP Said with my co hosts. Now, we love Reddit content and we're always talking about it in our chat group. And yes, if you haven't noticed, they're twins. Let's see how long it takes for you guys to figure out which one's which, because I know it took me a while. We love Reddit content and we thought, why not invite you into our WhatsApp group? So here we are. The stories are juicy and they're addictive. So welcome to OP Said. Let's get into our first story, which comes from drumroll. It was from relationship advice. My 30 female husband, 33 male, accused me of murder. Out of the blue, how do I salvage this? This is long and ridiculous. Sorry. My 30 female husband, Luke, 33 male, had a sister, Laura, 29 female. We were all close and saw each other 2 to 3 times a month, along with her parents. Almost 6 months ago, Laura fell down the stairs at the family home and died. It was a freak accident. There was a window on the half landing and she hit her head on the sill. I was the last person to see her. I was there for less than 10 minutes and she was in her pajamas making coffee. I didn't even stay for a drink. And I struggle with how such a brief and meaningless interaction could have been her last. She deserved so much more. My husband and I have only been married for a year, but we've been together for 4 and have known each other for 20 plus years. When Laura's parents found her, they called my husband straight away and we rushed over. We faced the whole thing as a family. In a days later, Luke started quizzing me exactly what we talked about. What was she wearing? Where were we standing, etc. It progressed to saying I was providing conflicting information on tiny details he was deliberately misunderstanding and accusing me of withholding information because I couldn't tell him things like what pajamas she was wearing. This escalated quickly, but lasted for less than a week. As I lost my cool and made it clear that I was done answering questions, he didn't bring it up again and I wrote it off as a grief quirk. His behavior was generally that of a normal grieving person. Last Friday, he outright accused me of murdering her in front of his parents. Out of the blue, we were all stunned. There was an inquest which recently concluded there was never any doubt the verdict would be accidental death. He said it was completely obvious and he couldn't believe that no one else could see it. He claims, I went through his phone, I found his messages with Laura. I absolutely have no idea what messages he's talking about. I've never looked at his phone. And I went over to confront her and things got out of hand. And I pushed her down the stairs.
What's in the messages, bro?
That's what I'm thinking as well.
Like, what?
By the end, he was shouting about going to the police and getting the inquest overturned and how I wasn't going to get away with it. Let me be clear. Lauren and I had a great relationship. We all did. I have no idea where this has come from, other than these messages I haven't seen. And even then, I don't think there's anything I could ever see on someone's phone that would drive me to murder. It's just ridiculous. He's been with his parents since this happened and will not talk to me at all. I've had some contact with his mum, but she's not very communicative. The last I heard, she didn't know what messages he was referring to either. I'm still completely stunned and I have no idea how to proceed. I made a commitment to be there for him always, and I understand that grief can manifest in strange ways. But part of me feels like my love for him died the second he called me a murderer.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know how we could possibly work through this. I also really don't want to be thought of in this way, and I have no idea if he has said anything to people we know. I obviously haven't. A brain tumor or psychotic break has crossed my mind. And I suggested it to his mother, and she just said she'll talk to him. Other than that, the questions before, he hasn't been acting odd. Obviously, he's grieving, but he seems sane and sensible other than this. I feel like I'm going mad. Does anyone have any advice at all? What do you think happens next?
I think she needs to get into that phone and see what the messages are.
Right.
I'm not concerned about the accusation. Why would what's in the messages that would drive her husband to think that she murdered his sister?
Yeah.
What's in the messages?
What do you think?
What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get divorced off the back of like just this,
Mm-hmm.
but I do think that it makes her question her character.
Yeah.
Like for somebody to think that you would go so far to the point of killing someone,
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy. But yeah, she needs to basically get into the phone, find out what the source of this rage was that led her to
Exactly.
kill her sister-in-law.
I just feel it's a level 10. Like, he didn't even go for asking questions. Just, you murdered her.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah, but that's why I said get in the messages. Like,
Like,
what's
that's a
wrong with
level
you lot?
10. Like, blaming someone of murder is wild.
Yeah, but
Also,
why is
I
everyone
think-
overlooking the messages?
No,
I
no one's
know.
overlooking the message.
No,
We want to
no,
know
no,
what's
No,
in
but
the
she
messages.
has not even said anything about the
I
messages.
don't think he could to anyway.
He literally said he accused her of going into the phone, seeing the messages, and that being the reason for why apparently she murdered his sister.
Yeah.
So I would go to the root cause, which is the messages.
But in terms of like
So-
what happens next, I don't know, because I think it's crazy. It's a crazy reaction. So anything could happen next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So update 1.
Okay.
Okay.
Firstly, thank you to those who helped me get into my husband's iCloud backups through an old iPad.
Come on now.
Wow.
I told you it's the
The
messages.
investigator
You
is
can't
effort.
no, sorry, you have to get into
do
the
you know
messages.
what? I
There's no
appreciate
way.
this team effort. You
Like,
know?
come on, listen.
This is top tier.
Listen.
I wasn't expecting much from Reddit, but I got valuable practical advice before my post was locked, and I appreciate it. There were no crazy or even suspicious messages. I've searched for over 100 times and scrolled back over years.
Oh, wow.
I saw a side of them both I wasn't expecting, but nothing that explains the claim I murdered over their chats. Nothing to suggest he was cheating. Absolutely nothing to suggest incest. No incest. This is in capital letters.
Oh, good.
No weird gaps were deleted.
Yeah.
Conversations or a switch to another app would fit. Just siblings making plans, sending memes and gossiping. They said unexpectedly horrible stuff about a few people, but not me. It was a sort of relief, but it raised more questions than
Answers.
it answered.
Yeah.
I sought legal advice, also from Reddit, after posting here. Turns out my options are divorce him or sit down. I contacted my community mental health team, who said they'd reach out, but made it clear it wasn't urgent. I then called his mum and said that if I didn't hear from him by this weekend, I would get a solicitor and ask for a mental health assessment as part of the divorce.
Yeah.
In response, he made a ridiculous post to Facebook, which neither of us have used in years, and everything blew up.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to try to keep this succinct. On Friday night, he made a long accusation on Facebook with new information. He said he'd been planning to leave me for months,
Whoa.
and I found the messages and murdered her. Very mad. Very mad. The coroner had reopened the case, and the police are preparing to arrest me.
Based on?
What?
And he needs to make sure people know before the trial stops him talking about it. It was well written and seemed vaguely plausible. This is what he's written on Facebook. This is not actually what's happening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He messaged people links, so it got some attention. We live in our hometown and have a large circle of friends because we've been here all our lives. People I haven't spoken to since school were reaching out to me asking what the F was going on. It was madness. In response, I posted the export of his entire conversation history with Laura, also to Facebook.
Wow.
It's getting messy.
Entire history
Years.
with his sister. Whoa.
I linked the chat along with a post explaining my side and noting that I had changed my ex's iCloud and Apple passwords, and that if he wanted them back, he should comment on my post and update his own, admitting that he was lying. He eventually did.
Oh.
When I started getting messages about his post, I panicked and changed his passwords. It seemed important to preserve everything because he'd know I had access. When I spoke to him the next morning, it's clear he's not having a mental episode at all. but is claiming one because he's been caught in a big lie. As soon as he was outed, he called me, clearly drunk, begging and promising to explain everything if I deleted my post. I hung up and told him to call back the next day. He did, after many missed calls and texts. And he tried to bargain and guilt trip me with his mental health until it was clear the wrong people had seen his conversation. It's hard to describe, but it seemed fake. It was too well rehearsed. And then this morning, when it was clear he was getting nowhere, he blocked me.
I'm so confused.
Same.
I'm
This
so
isn't making
confused.
sense.
Yeah.
Begging for mercy and rectifying facts about mental disorders doesn't align with someone in crisis with a sincere belief that someone murdered their sibling. The question of why he did all of this remains unanswered, and he will not be getting his passwords until it is. The legal advice subreddit said this stuff is technically legal, but it's beneath a court to take action. So I'm going to count on that because I felt I had no other choice at the time. And now I don't see any other way to get answers from him. I'm desperate and it's all I've got. So there we are. The relationship I have believed was my destiny since I was a teenager has boiled down to petty, convoluted, and vindictive bullshit played out on social media. For reasons still unknown, my hope for a brain tumor is fading, and clearly tomorrow morning is going to be when I lawyer up and stop posting about this. I am mortified. I have no idea whether some people might believe him, and I still don't know why this has all happened in the first place. Sorry, I don't have a happier update, and thanks again for everyone who offered advice. What do you guys think? There's another update.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
I
I just don't get
know.
it.
I just feel like if he wanted an out from his relationship, why not just say I want an out
Yeah,
from
why accuse your wife
why
of
accuse her of
murdering?
murder? Something she can't come back.
Very bad.
Murder. What's that? 25 to life? Where is this?
Yeah.
America, UK.
It must be
It
America.
feels like America.
Because she said
So-
mental health check and
Yeah.
only Americans.
So
Yeah.
sorry. So to exit their relationship, he would want his wife to serve 25 to life.
We've seen madnesses out there.
That's crazy.
It's a bit strange.
I think crazy is a subtle word for what's happening here, no?
I don't get it.
But also
I need
he's
the reason
messy.
why.
Yeah, but
he said to
Matthew's too
explain to her, but he
messy.
still hasn't. So what is he talking about?
Update 2.
Okay.
Hi everyone, me again. Both times I've posted here, it has paid off hugely in terms of helping unravel this mess. So I hope it's third time lucky. For the past few weeks, I've been trying to figure out why my husband suddenly accused me of murdering his sister, who died in an accident at home 6 months ago. It still feels as ridiculous now as it did then. When Laura died, we found out she had about 3K in hidden debt. It was odd because she was pretty open about her finances, but it wasn't out of character for her to overspend. So I hadn't really thought about it since. A comment on my last post prompted me to look more closely at the money stuff, and a message to my husband from Laura asking about a payment stuck out. I'd initially assumed it was about a car issue she'd had a few weeks before she died, but Luke definitely paid at the garage and they picked it up before we talked about it after she dropped him home. It didn't occur to me when I first looked. The messages supposedly proved I was a murderer, so I'd been looking for something scandalous.
Yeah.
The message about payment was the only thing I had at that point, and I had no idea what it meant. So I took a chance. I told my mother I knew about the money and that if he didn't get in touch with me that day, I would make sure everybody else did too. He called me straight away and asked me over to his parents' house to talk. He looked dreadful.
Oh.
He looked dreadful. And the first thing he asked me was whether I was happy now all of his friends hate him. What a wild thing to
That's
say.
between
when
you and God, bro.
Yeah.
That's between you and God and your friends.
like,
Go ahead.
I told him I don't give a fuck about his relationships and that I was there for answers. It turns out my husband told the coroner's office that he was secretly helping Laura pay some of her debt because she was embarrassed and struggling to keep up with her lifestyle. I assumed it didn't seem suspicious because her death was clearly an accident, and that's what they were investigating. In reality, he took out loans and store cards in her name, and she somehow found out a few weeks before
wow.
she died.
How much did it amount to?
Some guy he works with had apparently done it before and arranged it all. And if Laura hadn't found out, he claims they could have had it written off without her ever knowing. When she did find out, the guy left him high and dry. And then she puts in bracket, quelle surprise.
What?
Surprise, surprise. And he had to pay it off. I'm inclined to believe that that's the gist of what happened. But I'm shocked that my husband will do something this stupid. When she died so soon after, his brief and apparently genuine suspicion was that she had told me about it that day, and we argued and I'd killed her. He couldn't explain why I would kill someone because they were a victim of fraud. But according to him, he felt guilty in the immediate aftermath and his brain made it fit. I mostly believe this, but he tried launching into more weaponized therapy speak at that point, so I cut the topic off. A few months after his sister's death, Luke received a letter from a credit company, not even the police, saying he was being investigated.
Oh.
Laura didn't have much, so her debts, which were less than 10K, even with the fraud, were mostly written off. Something obviously flagged against my husband during that process. I don't know how or why. When the letters got more threatening, I believed the investigation would reopen to the inquest and that he would be accused of fraud, perjury, and because of his previously unknown motive, possibly murder. He claims the only thing the company investigating him actually knows is that the fraud came from our address. So accusing me would make it impossible to prove because it could be a coin toss. His words. Not him trying to frame her.
Yeah, I was going to say, wow. Where's the protection for her?
As
It
to,
doesn't make sense based on what he would have bought with the money.
yeah.
It would straight away point to one person.
Literally.
As to which one of us took out the credit in Laura's name. That was worth our entire marriage to him and my reputation in the community we have been a part of our entire lives. He says self-preservation kicked in and nothing else mattered when he thought about what would happen to him. When I asked him how his witness statement fits into his plan, because it proved he lied either way by acknowledging he knew about the debt and paying it, he froze for roughly a million years before before saying he hadn't thought of that. Obviously, my response was to ask why if he hadn't thought of it. He specifically said it was a lie he needed to cover earlier in the conversation. Suddenly, he's sobbing and his parents are rushing in to ask me to leave. I was in tears at this point, asking how the fuck he could do this to me over something so stupid and how much his parents knew about this as his mum was pushing me out of their house.
Right.
Mums
All-
and their sons. I'm
that
so sorry.
part.
I always say this. Mums and their sons.
Mums
literally.
and their sons. All she said was that she couldn't have this conversation with me. She was crying too, but wouldn't say another word. She knew everything.
She
That's
did.
what I'm thinking.
That's what I say. Mums and their sons always literally allow, encourage, justify
Disgusting behaviour
nonsense.
behind
Yeah.
it. I'm now 99% sure the fucker was trying to frame me, not for her death, but for the fraud.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
going to claim that he was lying for me in the coroner's interview, right? If he wrapped it
Whoa.
all up as quietly paying her off on my behalf than genuinely suspecting me of her murder, it would protect his reputation and point the finger at me. It just doesn't make sense any other way. Is my husband trying to frame me to weasel out of his actions? And how do I get to the bottom of this? I'm obviously open to theories because Reddit is the only reason I got this far in the first place. That being said, please don't come up with conspiracies about Laura's death in the comments. It's upsetting. She was wearing shitty old slippers and walking upstairs with a cup of tea, and she slipped and hit her head on the windowsill. This was never a murder mystery. It was someone's life. And she died just because.
Yeah.
Maybe
Should
a
not be.
butterfly flapped its wings somewhere. I don't know. It's hard enough to accept without having guesses shouted at me on the internet whilst my marriage falls apart. So with this was the end, but they had relevant questions. And it was someone called Saint Blaise said, I'm sure you've been asked before, but is he on drugs?
On
OP said,
drugs.
he's a casual drug user, but I've
Yeah.
never seen
He's
signs
not on
of
drugs.
it
He's just
getting unhealthy.
self-preservation.
He does cocaine maybe 8 to 10 times a year, and I've never known him to buy it when his money would have been better spent on something else. He's better at spending money than having it generally, but he's never ever shown signs of being greedy or deceitful. The only thing I can think of is that I would have been in the lead up to Christmas, but his gifts weren't particularly extravagant. So I don't think it was a desperate attempt to at a magical Christmas. And that's it.
I don't think that she can really answer that question. Like, she clearly doesn't know the guy properly.
What's that? Was he on drugs?
Yeah. Think about it.
Yeah.
Like, all of this, she's learning all of this new information about her husband. Like, his character doesn't match up to the person that she's known for 20 odd years, the person that she's been married to for the last year. She can't answer that question. She knows him to be a casual druggie, but she didn't know that he had all that debt. She didn't know that he was trying to set her up for murder.
That's true.
I think he could be a heavier drug user than she thinks. And I think that would probably explain that and the convoluted way in which he's trying to wrap up this murder and just, you know, try and push himself as far away from the credit.
It's just conniving for me. It's just
Yeah,
really
but
conniving.
he's not very good at it because you know what? Maybe I've watched too many TV shows, but it's not difficult to track where the money was spent.
Yeah,
and
he always say follow the money, right?
Because men don't spend money the way that women spend money.
Yeah, we've got different priorities.
Different.
Yeah,
this isn't very difficult. It's like, oh,
a
did
man
he
isn't
buy a
gonna
PS5?
spend it on brunch, bro.
Did he?
Yeah,
did he buy a new golf set? It's not her buying it, is it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just
I don't know. Maybe we watch too much SVU or crime shows, but this is not a hard one.
I know.
This would not be a hard one.
What's that song, girl? Guess who's going to jail tonight?
Listen,
These guys in jail.
Listen.
He deserves jail.
I just think he's selfish, honestly, and he was just thinking about himself, and he thought, he could
Get away.
not necessarily get away, but pin it on his wife, unfortunately, and that's literally it. But he's a terrible liar, terrible at this, very calculated, but ultimately she deserves better. She should definitely get that divorce, like, immediately.
Oh no, I think that's happening.
It's grounds for divorce for sure. And as for his family,
no one's on their side.
Yeah, no one's on her side, but it seems like they know and they're okay with it, and now they want to protect him. So, sis, move on.
But you know what? I just think he's such a terrible sibling to take out credit, credit cards under your sister's name.
Yeah, and many as well, apparently.
And this doesn't sound like someone who's 18 and lives under the family household.
Yeah.
This is a grown man that's married with a wife taking out credit cards under his sister's name.
Well, he thought that he would be able to
and...
get them written off, though.
Yeah.
But I still think it's a nasty...
That's insane.
Yeah.
I think it's a nasty thing to do. Like, you're literally messing up someone else's credit.
Yeah.
And I think that... You know, you can't undo credit for 7 years?
I think it's like 6 years something stays on your file.
Yeah, 6 or 7 years. Like, that for me is grounds for murder. Yeah? You thought it was your sister. No, I'm coming for you, bro. Like, someone fucking up your credit is a serious offence. Like, it's
it
what
messes
that
up
means.
your life.
It literally does.
Yeah.
It means what? I can't get a new car. I can't get a mortgage. I can't, like, what?
For 7 years.
Because don't think, even if it was written off, it's still a stain on her credit.
Yeah, exactly. Report. It's still, and also when you take out loads of loans on your credit, you do a hard credit check as well.
Yeah.
So you know, it's not advised to do 1 or even 2 per year per 6 months.
Yeah.
So for him, he's obviously taken out multiple. Like, that's put a dent on her file, on her credit file. That's not okay. Like, I think that's a big, I don't know, that's huge for me. Yeah.
Well, he's either going to go to jail or he's going to get some sort of probation sentence, and no one's really going to want to touch him.
Good riddance to bad rubbish.
And he's going to have to report it in every single job. He will have a criminal record based on that.
There you go. God is good.
All the time.
There you go.
Not us being in church.
I say all the time. Completely off topic. If you get any entertainment or you find this interesting, subscribing helps us push it to the people like yourself. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and X at OP Said Podcast. We have different content for different platforms.
All right, so I'm next, and the story is a Best from Reddit update, originally from Am I the Arsehole? Okay, title: Am I wrong for siding with my mum when she told my wife she isn't family?
What?
I don't even know why I'm laughing, but go on.
What did I say though? Mums and their sons, right?
Yeah.
Like, come on. Okay. Anyway, let me get into it. My beautiful wife, Zoe, and I have been married for a year. I have a 10-year-old sister, Liv, who is very shy, quiet, well-behaved kid. With her parents or super close family friends, she is sassy, funny, outgoing, but around most adults, she is super reserved. Zoe and Liv have an okay relationship, but I certainly wouldn't say they're close. Liv hates the movie character Krampus. When she was 4, she went downstairs on Christmas Eve and my mum and her friend were watching a movie in a dark living room and it scared the shit out of her. It's not like she's super scared of it, but she definitely still hates it. We were recently staying with my family while in between places, just for a month, and Zoe found a Halloween mask that looked similar to Krampus at her friend's house and thought it would be hilarious to prank Liv. I really don't think she had bad intentions. She has a mischievous streak and it was totally something Liv's dad would do. So Zoe woke up with the mask and Liv didn't think it was funny. And basically she wouldn't talk to her. My mum came into our room and very aggressively told Zoe, if you ever go into my sleeping child's room again, we're going to have a huge problem. Zoe tried to say she was just playing around and she didn't think it would get mad as Liv's dad would do stuff like that. My mum said, he's a fucking dad, you aren't family. Zoe was furious and asked if I was really not going to defend her. I said, you are 100% my family, but Liv probably doesn't think of you as family, and that is understandable. My mum even clarified that is what she meant. She said she considers her husband family, but would never ask us to. She told Zoe to accept that she isn't Liv's family. Zoe is furious with me for not standing up to her. I feel my mum was mostly right. Liv doesn't view Zoe as family and is more closed off and reserved with her versus her dad, who she is 100% comfortable with and would feel she could get back at. Zoe is my family, but it seems weird to push her on my family. Edit, because no one is getting it. Zoe is absolutely my family. Zoe and I are a family. My mum, her husband, and Liv are their own family. What do you think?
What's with all this separation business? This categorized. I
Wait,
understand.
let's see how long they've been together. Oh, they've been married for a year.
Yeah, I understand the different family units. Like,
Yeah.
if you were to create a family tree,
Yeah.
I understand the little pockets of families. But also, in that family tree, they're one big family. So I don't
They are.
understand it. Like, as soon her daughter-in-law is now part of her family.
Yeah.
I don't know what more needs to be said on that.
People that do jokes, that run jokes, that are based on people's fears are wild to me.
Yeah, I know.
It's
They
not
are.
funny. If I told you I don't like snakes, why would you bring a snake to me?
Yeah.
I'm not going to find that funny. You're going to find that I might be traumatized in the corner somewhere. Now
Yeah.
you've just sparked up another maybe
Trauma.
traumatic
Yeah.
memory.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? So
I
I
don't
don't
love
think that,
that.
I don't
Some
love
people
that she
take
did
pranks
that.
far though.
But also she went into her room to do that.
Yeah.
Why? So yeah, the mum does have the right to shout.
But not say that because
No, but she didn't
Yeah.
have
that's
the right
part
to
of
say
a-
that.
Yeah. Because I was gonna say I agree. Like I actually don't like pranks. I
Mm.
think I've got a weak little heart.
You do.
We know.
You do.
But at the same time, that's creating a divide.
Yeah.
As soon as
I'm
she
not really
said
down with
that,
all of that.
there's now a massive divide, and the fact that he agreed with his mum says that this relationship has as much legs as the mum and him are willing to put up with. Like any
Yeah, but then the mum is also
issues,
saying
and
the
it's
same
just-
thing about the husband.
Yeah, but it's
It's just how she sees. Like if it would to me it would be different if she was only seeing his
Yeah.
wife that way. But that's how she sees the world.
yeah.
So she's saying her dad is not his dad. He's just my husband. Parked over there. That's your wife. Parked over
Yeah.
there. She separates things. So in that sense, I don't think she means it in a rude way. It's just how she views the world. I don't know. This one's a tricky one.
Like honestly, from the title, obviously it's wild. It's not nice. When she described it, that obviously makes sense, and you can understand it if you're intelligent enough, and it's a basic idea. Like cool, but at the same time, I think that's really divisive,
Yeah. I
and
agree.
I just think that's not the way. I don't like. That's not welcoming, is it?
No.
Like fact is, that's her daughter-in-law. They're actually married.
Yeah.
Like
No.
you should be welcoming, and that should not really be like the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
That's her fucking dad. You're not family. Where does that come from?
Yeah.
That's off the tip of her tongue. That's because that's really how she feels.
Yeah.
Which means she clearly has grievances towards her daughter-in-law. And it's just like, who does that? Like, don't get me wrong, the prank is not cool. everybody doesn't like that. If you've got something traumatic that you don't, do you know what I mean? You don't want it made fun of, etc., etc. But at the same time, like, why are you reaching for that though? Why did that come?
Why,
Why did that?
first thing?
Why was that so
she says?
easy for you to say?
Yeah.
So clearly, I think we don't know something. So update. Well, my last post got a lot of attention and was a lot more divisive than I was expecting. I'd like to clarify some things. I do think of Zoe as my family. She's the most important family in my life. Liv is my half-sister and I don't have a relationship with her dad. I would never prank Liv because we don't have that relationship. So I was pretty horrified that my wife pranked her.
Yeah.
My mum never forced her husband on me, so I stand by not forcing Zoe on Liv. Well, I just wanted to let you all know we are now no contact with my family. Damn!
That went south.
Yeah, that is a lot. So the Compass prank took place Friday night, and I haven't really been home since due to crazy work hours. I got home and found Zoe hysterical. I've never seen her like that. She was on the verge of a panic attack and couldn't stop crying. My mum's husband came in and in a really mocking voice said, "It's just a prank, bro." Like he was trying to be like some cool TikTok kid. While I was gone, my mum told Zoe they were going out to dinner with Liv. So Zoe was home alone and my mum's husband and some of their pieces of shit friends staged a break-in. Oh my God. They had ski masks and ropes. And obviously
they were
Zoe
trying to
thought she
take
was
her
going
out.
to die. Then Liv popped out giggling like crazy and Zoe realised what was going on. I don't agree with what Zoe did to Liv, but this is nothing compared to this sadistic shit.
Yeah.
I actually hit my stepdad, which is crazy because he's a black belt, and I might
and I could have died.
And he said, and I might regret it in the morning. But I've never been so pissed. I told my mum I would never forgive her. She began screaming about she was in my child's fucking bedroom. She had no right, blah, blah, blah. I am done. We got our shit and went to a motel. Honestly, what sucks is my godfather was involved and I always thought he was a cool dude, but whatever, he picked a side, screw them.
Yeah.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely a crazy
No,
story.
that went
That
left.
escalated quickly.
But you know what it shows though? As I said to you,
The
the
vibe.
mum really does not like that woman because do you know what? On
Because
any,
who was the mastermind behind the
yeah,
idea?
like that's what I
It
would
was
like
the
to
mum.
know.
It
right?
couldn't have been anybody else. Think about it.
But also,
do you think Zoe, Liv, she's 10 years old, right?
Yeah.
Do you think the 10-year-old came up with that idea? No.
no, but wait a sec. Oh, we're talking about kids and adults, yeah? The one that pranked her is Big Dad and his friends. The husband, yeah? Her mum's the...
To make it more believable.
Like,
imagine thinking that you're going to be taken out.
as a female, at home alone, and then men break into a house. Do you know how scary that must have been for her? That is... I'm sorry, what?
It's traumatic.
How is that okay? Like,
It's traumatizing.
nah.
But it concerns me that the mum is she's
Mastermind, orchestrated, okay, justified. What are you talking about?
thought about this plan and said, yeah, I think it's a great idea.
And then this husband, it was just a joke, bro.
So, like,
what?
nobody said no. No, I don't think that this
Not
is a good
one
idea.
of the adults in the room thought it was a bad idea.
No, everyone said...
That's disgusting. Yeah, I would be
That
done
is
as well.
that-
I'd be done as well.
That'll give you therapy. Like,
I would
you'll
be
need
scared.
therapy.
I'd be scared for a long time.
You probably couldn't trust yourself to be alone.
Yeah.
You'll be double checking. You now have OCD, checking locks are closed and get security. That can mess up a whole life.
That is
you know?
traumatic. There's no way that's disgusting.
So crazy.
That is awful. And then she says that, what's her justification? She was in my child's fucking bedroom. She had no right.
People just don't know how to chill out.
I
Simmer
think
down.
there's more than chill.
Resolve issues with a conversation. You know, this could have been a conversation. Please don't do that again. I really don't appreciate it. She's a 10-year-old girl.
Yeah.
I don't want people messing with my child like that.
But
Set
based
the
on her
boundaries.
reaction, based on the mum's reaction initially, I don't think a conversation would have led anywhere.
Yeah.
I think she would have stood firm on her ground saying,
She thinks
you're
it's
not
okay.
family, I'm family, you did that to my child, and that's it. And then she'll probably say, how would you like it if something like that happened? And then she'll do it. Like, I don't think this is a woman that can be reasoned with, clearly.
Yeah,
Clearly.
Like, I don't
definitely,
think a conversation would have resolved this whole situation.
I think that's disgusting.
I think,
I'm so sorry.
I think she's a piece of shit.
Yeah, literally.
Okay, so the third story is coming from Best of Reddit Updates. Hi there.
I'm here to ask for advice and to make my husband see that I'm not the asshole. In brackets, here's hoping y'all can see where I'm coming from. I, 45 female, live with my children, two 12-year-old twins, I'm guessing,
Yep.
two 12-year-old girls, and two boys, one 14 and one 15. And my husband, 46 male. And my mother-in-law, 65 female. Okay. My mother-in-law moved in with us back in 2015 after my father-in-law passed because she was financially struggling. My mother-in-law is not easy to live with and we struggled immensely at the beginning, but after a few years, we found a way to cohabit. Then recently, 3 months ago to be exact, my parents, 68-year-old female, 68-year-old male, house burned down. And they
It's all
moved in
happening,
with
innit?
us. Yeah. The house burned down and they moved in with us while everything is sorted out with insurance and so on. My boys are sharing a bedroom as my parents are currently staying in my eldest bedroom. My mother-in-law has struggled with this and seems to hate my mum being around.
Whoa.
Why?
My mother has done nothing to upset her or to disturb her. In fact, my parents' bedroom is on the other side of the house. She doesn't, however, have a problem with my father and always finds a way to hang out with him. She needs to move from him. Anyway, listen.
She said, "Come, Zaddy."
Wow.
A few days ago, while I was away for work, a massive argument happened between my mother and my mother-in-law. My mother had accused her of trying to seduce my father, and there were some inappropriate texts sent to my father. My father immediately showed it to my mother, and my mother responded as if she were my father to see how far my mother-in-law would go.
That's
and
a good
well,
man, Savannah.
she
Yeah,
went
I was gonna
far.
say. So good man,
He
Savannah.
said, "I'm on none of this."
Listen.
She wanted to see how far I'd go, and she went far.
Whoa.
Okay.
Is
Okay.
it, Auntie?
Hey, listen.
Wow.
Well, my mother confronted her, and my mother-in-law called the police, saying she felt threatened, who then escorted my parents out of the house. This all happened while my husband was at work
What?
and the kids at school. My parents went to stay at a hotel and they explained what happened to me over the phone. When I returned, I gave my mother-in-law 2 weeks to move out. My husband thinks I'm escalating things and that I should forgive his mother's actions
Nope.
because she was lonely and confused.
No.
FYI, there is nothing wrong with her. She's in good health. Okay, so am I the asshole for wanting her out of my house and
No.
my life?
No.
Okay, wait a
need-
second. Edit. The very next day, an edit says, FYI, to answer, my husband has not seen the text and pictures his mother sent my father.
Why
The
would
only
you?
reason he hasn't seen it is because he refused to. But I think I'll have to insist because I need him to really understand how nasty she's been. Also, I wanted to kick her out immediately, but my husband begged me to give him 2 weeks so he could find a place for her. And my parents, being the saints that they are, said that I should give him that. My husband has profusely apologized to my parents, but my parents aren't upset with us and hold only my mother-in-law responsible, as it was her disgusting actions that led to
Yeah,
this.
it's nothing to do with them, really.
So she's made 3 points. So 1, in the picture she sent my father, my mother-in-law wasn't completely naked. She sent him lingerie pictures with suggestive poses and accompanied with
Auntie
lewd.
is scandalous.
Literally.
What?
Listen. Which is why my husband isn't particularly interested in seeing them. 2,
I hear that.
the police asked my parents to leave since my mother-in-law technically lives there. To avoid escalating the situation, my parents decided to leave. The police officers did not file any charges and just left after a chat with everyone involved. There was no violence and no one got hurt.
Okay.
And then the third and final point is my mother-in-law moved in with us after she lost almost everything. Father-in-law died after a long battle with cancer. Medical costs ate up pretty much most of their savings and she had to sell their house. This led her to spiral into a deep depression. My husband was very worried for his mother and for good reason, as she was in a terrible state at the time.
Yeah,
So
you
we
would be.
decided to move her in with us.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, is she the asshole for kicking out her mother-in-law?
No, she's not. And also, run that phone to your husband, bro, so that he can see what his mum's really on.
I wouldn't want to see it.
I wouldn't give a heck.
Do you know why?
Yeah.
Because men, they need evidence.
Men are
You can't-
relative.
They're very relative. They
Until
need to
they
see that stuff.
see-
Yeah, for themselves.
Yeah.
Then they can understand and be on the side of women because they don't naturally lean towards that. So give your husband a phone, man up, and see what exactly went down. Therefore, it's not I said, she said, my mum said. Well, nah. Get the evidence for yourself, and then we can have a conversation. But no, she's not wrong.
Yeah,
Your
fair.
mum violated.
I don't think she's wrong at
Yeah.
all. Auntie is one of the most scandalous people. Like, the wife is right there beside
Should be a
him.
telenovela, bro. What? I think that's out of order. That is so out of order.
Wait, the parents are there because their house burned down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a temporary situation until
Yeah.
they obviously sort out whatever.
But that could take
But-
months. Like,
Yeah,
that's
can
at
take
least
a while.
year.
Yeah.
I've,
Yeah.
like, I've had that happen to one of my clients, and it was a
It takes
year.
a long time.
Because
Yeah.
first of all, the insurances come through. You live in a hotel, then they put you somewhere
Yeah.
while they're building the place.
And that's
So
if
maybe
you
there would
pass,
have
by the
been
way.
exactly.
Yeah,
If
'cause
you've
that's
got if
all.
you've got somewhere to stay, better for you because your insurance won't go up. And then when they do the payout, they have to build you a house or buy you a house. That can take
Yeah.
ages.
No.
Wow.
I think she did the right thing, but also like, what was the plan here? No, seriously, I want to
An
know.
affair.
She was trying
This-
to have an affair, bro.
this-
What?
all
It's a
within
simple plan.
No,
It's
but
really
all within
straightforward.
that same house.
Yes.
That's crazy.
But it's what she wanted.
What's it called? Dynasty and all the rest of them. Like, yeah, that happened.
The young and the restless.
Young
It's
and the
been
rest-
done.
Yeah,
It's been
Sunset
done,
Beach.
mate.
It's always
That's
happened.
crazy.
Hollyoaks. It's happened.
That's
man.
literally too close to home. Except
no,
it's
no.
too close
I
in
would-
the home.
I would
They're on the
definitely
other
say
side,
so.
remember?
People live wild. People don't
crazy.
care.
People don't care. And she
Yeah.
clearly didn't care. She
At
said lingerie,
all.
suggestive
Yeah,
posts.
she said, "Come and get this, daddy."
And even
Wow.
she could tell that I was a good man.
That's
But
a
I
good
wa-
man, Savannah.
Yeah, because I rate him though, because he gave the phone to his wife quick.
Immediately.
I said,
I would-
yes.
It said
would drop it.
immediately.
He said he don't want no
Yeah.
smoke.
Smoke.
He said no, thank
Absolutely
you.
not.
I'm not doing this.
But yeah, the
for
husband needs
him.
to see.
He does.
The
need to
husband,
see.
Okay.
because
So
it's,
even if he
it's
doesn't
not
want
until
to,
he, it's
yeah,
not
then
until
he-
he sees everything go
Exactly, then
down.
he'll
Because then,
understand.
do you know the reason why he needs to see it as well is so that he can stop having sympathy for his mum, because she's not the victim in this whole entire
Thank you.
situation. She's what?
She's the perpetrator.
Thank you.
She's the initiator. She's the guilty.
Yeah.
Party.
She.
Literally.
And she went and got that
It's disgusting.
lingerie.
It's disgusting
That's what she
behavior.
purchased that
I don't.
lingerie.
We don't know how
Actually
old those
disgusting
pictures are,
behaviour.
but she thought it was okay to do that, and
Yeah,
that's
nah.
not okay.
Crazy.
Okay, we have
got
an update. We have an update.
Okay, go on.
Okay. I thought I'd give all an update since several people have asked one. My mother-in-law is currently staying in an Airbnb, and since she's in no
Mhm.
position to buy her own place, my husband and I have decided we are buying a 2 to 3 bed place near us that she can live in. The plan is for her to rent out the second room to her friend who is currently going through a divorce. I haven't spoken to or seen my mother-in-law for 3 weeks now. My husband goes to see her once or twice a week as she's apparently severely depressed. She's also upset with me for telling my husband's entire family why she's been kicked out of my house. And they are all appalled with
not
her.
the entire family.
Yeah, good-
She said,
mate.
for
stuff.
shame.
She said everyone go,
What
no.
happened in the dark
Listen, yeah.
has to come out in the light, bro.
Immediately.
Wow.
No, good. I love this. I
No,
love
that's
this
that. I
one.
like that. I like
Okay,
that.
so my husband has also gone off on her a few times for her behaviour, and he fully backs me in the decision to ban her from
Okay,
our
so
home.
he needed a little while.
Good.
Yeah. The children know there's been a falling out with their grandmother and me, and I suspect they know why.
She should be
But they also
embarrassed.
know-
I'm sorry.
That's why she's depressed.
Fully,
She should be
fully.
embarrassed.
I think the ground has already swallowed
my,
her.
I
And
would
she's peeking out.
die. I would die of shame, like literally.
Shame,
sorry.
shame, shame, shame. Listen,
Oh, mate.
listen. The children know there's been a falling out with their grandmother and me, and I suspect they know why. But they also know they can maintain their own relationship with her without upsetting me. They miss her and have gone to visit her a few times with their father. There's much I can say about my mother-in-law, but one thing I can't deny is her love for her grandchildren.
Yeah.
My husband still hasn't looked at the messages his mother sent my father, and honestly, I can understand it because I too wouldn't want to see anything sexual involving my mother. As for my husband and I, we're both working on our relationship. Obviously, during this period, our relationship was strained, but we are back on track. My husband has apologized to me several times for not putting his foot down with his mother earlier on, and he is doing everything he can to mend our marriage. This whole situation has made my parents and my husband's relationship awkward, but we are all slowly working on mending it. As for my parents' house, it will take another month or so before they can move back in. It's currently a construction site, and my parents are looking forward to redecorating it. Okay, and she also has relevant answers to some of the comments. The house that his mum will be moving into will be under mine and my husband's name. Initially, I wasn't in favor with us buying the house, but my husband and I did work out that it would be cheaper and that it would be a good investment for us. We looked at it, and financially, this would be the best option for us. Why are you allowing her around your children? Because they're family.
Who even asked that question?
Yeah,
That's silly.
crazy. She also says it's not only because we are family, but the fact that she's literally been a third parent to my children. She spent a lot of time taking care of them, cooking their meals, and sometimes even for me and my husband, she regularly drops them off at school and picks them up. She works with them on their homework and regularly helps around our household. My children are close to her, and they are at an age where they can maintain their own relationship with her without interference. And the final question was, do you even like your own parents at all? Yeah, I love them, and my parents are aware of everything. They've literally spoken to my children saying that they don't have to pick sides and to go visit her.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
feels like a. I
It
like
was
the
a nice,
clothes.
well-rounded
Yeah.
situation. The
Yeah.
mum gets to maintain her independence just far
Yeah,
outside of the house.
yeah, she used to be outside still.
Right. And I don't think that the parents are ever going to get along because that was a massive violation.
Huge
Absolutely.
violation.
But
I'm never gonna see you in a good light ever.
Yeah, like
right.
Our holidays will always be separated.
Yeah.
Like,
but
You,
also,
and you did that.
Facts.
You did that.
Right,
Facts.
So
Facts.
you live with that.
Yeah.
That
But also-
embarrassment shall live with
also
you
she
forever.
wins. You know, she ends
I was
up
gonna
winning.
say she wins because she
She-
moves out and now
She
lives with her
gets
friend.
independence. She's now
On her son's
living with
coin.
her with her
Listen.
friend, and she's unless she does another bad act, she's not going to get kicked out.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. She
Yeah.
actually kind of ended up winning.
Yeah, she did.
And then she gets her, like, she doesn't have to look after the kids anymore.
No.
She doesn't have to clean up that household. She just
Yeah.
has her own place.
Yeah, it's true.
So
That was wild though.
It's a
like-
wild move, but somehow she didn't come out too badly.
I just
in the
think,
end.
what? And how did you expect this to go down? Like, and you didn't think about getting caught?
I think a lot
like,
of people don't
what-
think
I
that
know.
far.
about getting caught.
No.
Nah,
They're just
bro.
in the moment. He fine. Okay.
Nah, not in the same
One
household.
done.
And also, like your daughter-in-law's father. You've got no respect. No, she's got no respect
None.
because, like, she didn't even think about how that would mess up her
Relationship with her
child's-
daughter-in-law.
No. Her
Or-
child's marriage.
Relationship.
Yeah, her child's marriage. Like, that's a really selfish person because it's like you don't care about the aftermath.
Yeah.
So long as you're enjoying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not cool. You are too old to say, and you can't even rely on your mentally because she was depressed. Auntie, you kept on texting. You kept
Love
on
the fact
sending
that
them
we're calling her
texts.
auntie.
No, but real talk. She kept
Yeah.
on.
But also,
Like,
I
that's
mean, we
not
say it all the
okay.
time, you get older, but that doesn't make you wiser.
Yeah, but a lot of people think they don't give a heck
No.
the older they get. That's why you see a lot of older women with toy boys and etc. etc. They get a second wind and they don't give a heck anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the families, wow.
I know. I think in the family's like reckless,
Yeah.
She was moving reckless.
She was moving.
Mad.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening. Let us know in the comments what subreddits or what you would like to see next.
That's the end of episode 1. Come back next week if you want some more drama. We loved it.
Can't wait to see them.
Bye.
Bye.